Hi, welcome back. Uh, I'm Tom Burton. I'm a counselor and a musician, and I am on doing a project right now where I'm interviewing musicians to find out how they're doing during this pandemic and how this is affecting their livelihood. Today we have Josephine Van Lier from Edmonton. I know Josephine because I play in a early music ensemble with her called La Folia. She's conducting. Anyway, welcome, Josephine. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Tom.
Um, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us about you and what you're involved in musically.
Sure. So I'm a cellist, a viola da gamba player, and a baroque cellist. And like Tom says, I conduct an early music ensemble as well. And that is how I make my living. So I have a private teaching practice and I perform a lot. And then I lead an organization for early music here in Edmonton. I founded that as well, Early Music Alberta. And with that, I organize a concert series and an annual festival, which now has been canceled because that was happening in
Yeah. Yeah, tell me a bit more about that. Tell me what has been the greatest challenge for you at this time, or frustration, or fear? What's this like for you?
Well, it's very surreal. And at the moment, I think I've sort of settled into this, but it is unsustainable. I'm teaching online, which is actually remarkably good, which I was really dreading when it first started. I thought you miss that contact and I can't touch my students to help with anything, but it's going surprisingly well through Zoom. It's, I would say, in some instances, even for some students, better in some occasions. I'm not saying it should, but just for example, you can split the screen on Zoom. And so you see two people and the student can see themselves and me, and I can make them copy, let's say, a bow stroke or anything like that. And they see them and me side by side and it works well. Or what I've done, for example, I've cello ensembles that I'm leading and I've let them record their parts at home and send it in, and suddenly they're so much more critical, so they're practicing very hard to get that because a recording just right.
Yeah.
So there's some good things coming of that. At least I'm making it a positive because it's
That's
of course
great.
absolutely unsustainable. But for the rest, I mean, my teaching is just 20% of my income. 80% is gone. It's all the performances and my yearly festival, gigs, everything. And for us musicians, I mean, it's not just for how we make money. I'm a freelance musician. I don't have a symphony job because I love being a freelance musician. I love being a chamber musician, setting my own programs, creating my own, I play what I really want to play. And now I can't. I can't. I mean, I'm creating my own projects at home. I get to practice things that I otherwise wouldn't have time. But there isn't that. Yeah, I have no idea what the future will bring. And what is most worrisome is, okay, I can sit this out and say, okay, until September there's no concerts. I can be at peace with that. But now what? What are we going to be able to have regular concerts again? Is that ever going to be normal again? Or is it going to be another year or two or never? And for example, with my Early Music Alberta, where I organized a concert series, initially my May festival, we postponed and said, let's do it in the fall. And now it's like, yeah, no, probably not, because it's unlikely that we can have a big festival. Plus, of course, everybody else is trying to move it to that time. So it will be, but it's an uncertainty. So now I've postponed it for a year, but even then we don't know. What comes with the added uncertainty of not knowing, I don't know can I hire musicians yet or can I not? Can I, we've got funding for that, where there's a deadline, you have to use that funding within so many months, otherwise it's gone. Well, those are also uncertainties because that rocks my little society that my own income, and yeah, so it's a very uncertain thing. You know, colleagues of mine, and I have that too. We have done several streaming concerts. Of course, that's not the same because now suddenly you're playing to a camera. You don't read the audience. It's incredible how much you always play with your audience and you feed off them and you feel what the vibe is. And now you're playing to a camera. You know there's people on the other end, but it is not the same. And there is something, you know, weird about doing this in your own house. You know, I'm just coming upstairs, closing the door. It's nothing, you know, that kind of excitement and tension that you get also from interacting with people, that's all gone. So that's
there's quite a there's a lot missing, isn't there? It's sad. I feel it's quite sad, really.
It's very sad.
Yeah,
it's very sad. I mean, and it, for me and for a lot of my colleagues, I think we're all creating our own projects madly, but and for some, I'm getting to practice. I'm practicing stuff now that I probably wouldn't have had time to, and it's something I really wanted to do anyway. So now I can do that. But at the same time, there's no urgency. So if I don't practice today, I'll do it tomorrow or the day after, and that is strange too. So
no deadlines, nothing to work toward, no specific concept.
No, and we as musicians, I think we're very good at self-motivating anyway, but it is very different than if there's a deadline that these pieces have to be ready in 3 weeks. Well, then it's very different. It's a very different energy. And at one point, I'm really just enjoying that too, right? Because if I don't, then there's no point doing that. So, and I think for us musicians, there's one thing that we might have over somebody who has a steady job to go to. We're used to uncertainty, right? Because as a freelance musician, I really don't know from month to month what my income is. It varies greatly all the time anyway. And that is, I don't mind that because I know no difference. My teaching income is my steady income. The rest fluctuates all the time. So I think for us this time, as devastating as it is maybe we can deal with it a little easier than some people who have also seen that same drop in income, but are not used to thinking like that and budgeting like that. Or
that makes sense.
Riding a wave. So
wow, okay.
But that is for now. I don't know, you know, come September, what will happen. I mean, this province is not doing too well either. So if this hits a bad recession, is that going to cut my entire student load out as well? And then I'm just in complete trouble.
Yeah, it's scary.
That is a scary thought.
Yeah.
And now too, I mean, but yeah, I'm trying to keep a positive outlook because otherwise if you start going there.
That's one thing I love about you. You're so positive. So, okay, anything else you'd like to say to the audience before we leave today?
No, I mean, we're all in this together. It is incredibly hard for all of us. I'm thinking, well, I have my sister-in-law from the Netherlands is here. She's a jazz singer, so she's also a musician. And my brother is a jazz pianist. And she was visiting here at the beginning of March. Well, she hasn't been able to return. There's no way she can go home. I have no idea when she's returning, but I see the same in my brother and her with their income, and they have very little teaching income. So they're way worse off. And then living in a very tight quarters in Amsterdam, that is, yeah, I think it hits all musicians everywhere. And yeah, it's really rough.
Well, thank you for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you. And I'll see you soon on Zoom for sure.
Yes.
Hopefully
Yes.
not too long in person.
Yeah, I hope that too. That I hope that's possible again.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye for
Thanks,
now.
Tom. Bye.